Hello, I am Andrew Worthy, and this is the final part of my senior thesis project. My project was on the interdisciplinary approach to human trafficking with concentrations in organizational leadership and computing applications. Definitions of organizational leadership is how management utilizes personal goals to motivate individuals in their respective workplaces. For example, if someone is an employee at a restaurant and their goal is to be a manager one day, then their boss would utilize that information to help motivate an individual by showing them the ropes of management and opportunities that could be presented to them in the future to help keep that employee focused and on track in a day-to-day setting. And computing applications are forms of software that are used specifically for certain industries to help in the efficiency or effectiveness of a certain company within an industry. For example, E-Trade is a computer application and a business that helps with trading stocks and helps individuals in the financial world. And human trafficking is the illegal movement of individuals globally. This includes, but is not limited to, sexual exploitation, labor and wage exploitation, and manipulation. It affects around 40 million individuals worldwide. I chose these concentrations and this problem because I believe that there are different ways to approach this problem and could provide an opportunity to better break down the situation at hand. The victims have, The victims have almost no outlet or almost no opportunities to free themselves from this horrendous act. So having the opportunity to open up the conversation about human trafficking from different perspectives and utilize different disciplines to approach this problem is a great place to start. I chose the hospitality industry because I have a great opportunity in the restaurant that I'm currently working at, and I believe that I have the most knowledge in applying these concentrations and disciplines in that field. I believe that an interdisciplinary approach would be beneficial because there are so many aspects that affect human trafficking, and there are also so many aspects that need to be addressed in human trafficking. The large scale of this problem is what makes it so difficult to address, especially with a single discipline in mind. Organizational leadership as a discipline could provide an opportunity to see how and why people traffic these victims. To learn why could present us with an opportunity to see this problem through a different lens. The motivation that these traffickers have and what their ultimate goal is in the trafficking industry could easily open up the door to protect more individuals from falling into these traps and horrible situations. By using computing applications, there can be multiple opportunities to hinder individuals over the internet. A lot of human traffickers use websites that have sections that include offers for performing sex work for a client online. There's an electronic payment that takes place and the victim is forced to show off or perform sexual favors for the client online or even in person. The human trafficker receives most, if not all, of the financial compensation. The client obviously receives the pleasure aspect of this transaction, and the victim of human trafficking is feeling vulnerable. By using computer applications, the human traffickers have gained almost untapped opportunity by being able to victimize individuals all over the globe without having to be a physical presence. However, computing applications can also provide individuals to utilize the internet and computer technology to analyze mass amounts of data and be able to narrow down the commonalities and patterns that are prevalent in the online advertisement aspects of this world. Going into my literary review, the first couple references that I used were used to help put a scale on the enormity of this problem. The International Labor Organization provided the first two numbers for reference as to how large and how global this problem is. I also utilized Polaris, and then they run the company who also runs the United States National Human Trafficking Hotline. So those are two very solid references that I like to use because the International Labor Organization mentioned that human trafficking industry surpasses $150 billion annually and affects, like I said, 40 million victims. And then Polaris mentioned that there is around 1,448 cases of labor exploitation in the service industry alone since 2014. first literary review paper I used was a study done by Ada Volodico and Ella Cockbain and Bennett Kleinberg. They did a deep dive into how Lithuania is among the top countries for human trafficking in Europe and how individuals who are looking for work abroad could be targeted and victimized into this horrible practice. I enjoyed reading and studying this study, I guess, that they did, because they broke down how they conducted the study, what methods were used, and exactly what sort of indicator words or code words they were looking for in terms of online solicitations that could lead to victimization in the human trafficking world. They went on to explain how they had a code that they used for specific words on indicators and are believed to present an unknowing individual that was looking for a legit employment opportunity in other parts of Europe that were looking to leave Lithuania, but because of the code words, they were able to deduce certain advertisements that would lead them into human trafficking and being manipulated by individuals. The next reference I used was a study done by the individuals Xavier Allori, Alessandro Moretti, and Georgios Antonopoulos. They looked at how to identify sex trafficking in adult service websites, which I didn't know this, but apparently it's completely legal to pay for an adult service, I guess like prostitution per se, and how if you were looking to provide services, certain individuals can see that you applied and recruit you into being a victim of human trafficking as opposed to performing sex work, if you will, as a consenting adult. They also looked at, it was also done in Britain. So this is obviously not just a Lithuanian problem, but a British problem as well. It's a global problem all over the world. And then Luca Giomani and Ruth Ikwu did another fascinating study, also the United Kingdom. All these studies followed the same formats, and they went online and attempted to find patterns in the online advertisement sector. They all also mentioned how human trafficking has greatly increased and benefited from the internet and the development of intercontinental connection and communication, but I feel like there's more good than bad in the world, so I believe that people have used the internet to hinder the human trafficking practice and used it to, like I said, to kind of like analyze mass amounts of data and be able to look at patterns that are formed when individuals are persuaded and manipulated into the human trafficking world. Other studies that I mentioned that helped with the organizational leadership aspect of this thesis, for example, the way that June Wynn, Anton Claren, Edmund Go, Joshua Aston elaborated on how individuals involved in the hospitality industry can be motivated to human traffic for personal gain. For example, an individual at a hotel front desk job might be persuaded or forced into housing victims for an extended period of time because of the movement and logistics aspect of human trafficking. This isn't online, this is in a real life situation. Human traffickers will travel cross country and usually go up to a hotel, and if they can't just get the rooms all at once, they'll use manipulation tactics to help house these victims for a day or two until they move on to their next stopping point, if you will. And it's just really kind of scary to see that there's just been so much human trafficking, not only globally, but within the United States, and how the hospitality industry, one of the larger industries in the nation, can unknowingly aid the practice of this. And it's done not only by manipulation, but monetary gain for this individual. They just offer an absurd amount of money to the front desk worker of a hotel, and then they get their way, if you will. And just the way that individuals can be persuaded by the upper ranking members of a human trafficking ring is scary to think about, because it could be happening anywhere. This has been my final thesis project for my senior year, and it has been interdisciplinary approach to human trafficking with concentration in organizational leadership and computing applications. Thank you.